Good morning, everyone. Sorry I couldn't be with you today. I will be back tomorrow, so hopefully all goes well today and get a good report so we can wrap up this unit tomorrow. The sub should have already collected your homework so that I can check to make sure that that's done. If you have any questions, jot them down and we can go over them tomorrow. We're going to start by going over your warm-up. Okay, first thing we're going to do is draw our river. We want to get x by itself. So we are going to start by subtracting 1 on both sides. We get negative 4/5 x is less than 8. And then this is multiplication. To undo this, we want to do division, but when we divide by a fraction, we want to keep change flip. So we're going to multiply by the reciprocal on both sides. Okay, these will go away on the left-hand side. We'll have x. Oops, I almost messed up. Don't forget, when you multiply or divide by a negative, what do we have to do? Reverse that sign. Okay, and then we can cross simplify. 4 goes into 4 once, 4 goes into 8 2 times, and 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. So we have x is greater than negative 10. And when we graph this, it should look like this. Open circle, shade to the right. Okay. Now we do have to check, and all we have to do is select a number that's in our solution set. So basically any number that's greater than negative 10. You know I personally always like 0 the best. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite the original, and I'm going to let x equal 0. So we have negative 4/5 x plus 1 is less than 9. Negative 4/5 times 0 plus 1 is less than 9. This will just be 0. 1 is less than 9 is true. So we graphed correctly. Go ahead and pause the video if needed. Make sure that your warm-up looks like mine. Jot down any questions you have, and we'll get ready to go. Flip the page when you're ready. Here is the last day of our unit. Okay, and all we're going to do is focus on word problems involving inequalities. Okay, so you've done expressions, you've done equations, you've done word problems with equations, inequalities, and now word problems with inequalities. Okay, I do want to remind you of verbal phrases that represent inequality symbols. If you read at least, no less than, greater than or equal to, that's a greater than or equal to symbol. At most, no more than, less than or equal to would be less than or equal to. More than or greater than is obviously greater than, and then we have less than or fewer than is less than. Okay, so all we're going to do is practice translating first. So we don't have to solve, just turning words into math. Okay, so we have 3 times a number decreased by 4 is less than negative 62. So that one's pretty straightforward. You can literally copy it as you read it. The next one, the quotient of a number and negative 5 increased by 1 is at most. Okay, this means that it could be 7 or less. So we're going to say less than or equal to 7. Okay, to represent a quotient, we're going to use fractions. So we have x divided by negative 5 plus 1 is less than or equal to 7. Okay, another quotient of a number and 3 minus 2 is at least negative 12. Okay, that means that it's negative 12 or more. Okay, so it's be greater than or equal to negative 12. Okay, so we have x divided by 3 minus 2 is greater than or equal to negative 12. Okay, and lastly, the product of -2 and a number minus 6 is greater than -18. Okay, so we have -2x minus 6 is greater than -18. Okay, go ahead and pause the video, jot down any questions you have, and make sure that your notes look like mine. Okay, and if as you're watching you need to pause or stop or go back and rewind, please feel free. Okay, what I have for you next is 3 examples of word problems that we're going to go through together, and then there's 3 for you to try with your partners. Okay, so the first one says the average. Okay, does anyone know how you find average? If I give you your average in my class, okay, you're adding up all of the grades and dividing by however many grades I've inputted. Okay, so when it says the average of 70, 75, 83, and 80, and a fifth number, okay, they didn't give us that number, it's just some fifth number, is at least 80. Okay, that means we want it to be equal to 80 or bigger than 80, greater than 80. Okay, describe the value of the fifth number. Okay, so that's what we're trying to find right here. Describe the value of the fifth number. So that's going to be our variable because that's our unknown quantity. Okay, so let x equal the fifth number. Okay? And then we discussed a moment ago, to find the average, we add them all up. Okay, so 70 plus 75 plus 83 plus 80 plus x. Okay, and then we divide by the number of numbers. So we're going to divide by 5 values. We want all of that to be greater than or equal to 80. Okay, and now all that's left is to show our work, okay, to solve our equation. So we're going to draw a river on our inequality sign. And we're going to start by simplifying or combining like terms. Okay, so when I add all those constant terms up, we should get 308 plus the x, still all over 5, is greater than or equal to 80. Okay, now my recommendation would be to clear this denominator. Okay, that's what's kind of standing in our way. The opposite of dividing by 5 would be to multiply both sides by 5. Those go away. Then we get 308 plus x is greater than or equal to 400. Okay? And our last step would be to subtract 308 from both sides. And we get that x is greater than or equal to 92. Okay, so when we write our answer in sentence form, connecting the words back to the words, we would say the fifth number is at least 92. Okay, could it be bigger? Absolutely. Okay, and then lastly, we want to check. Okay, so go back to the original. 70 plus 75 plus 83 plus 80 plus x, all divided by 5, is greater than or equal to 80. Okay, now that we know what x has to be equal to or greater than, okay, you can either substitute in 92 or anything that's greater than 92. Okay, so just for ease, I think I will use 92. Okay, we'll do 70 plus 75 plus 83 plus 80 plus 92 divided by 5 is greater than or equal to 80. Okay. And what you should be getting is 400 divided by 5 is greater than or equal to 80. 80 is greater than or equal to 80, which is true. Go ahead and pause, make sure that your notes look like mine, and jot down any questions that you have for me. When you're ready, flip to the next page. Okay. Example 2 says, Kelly goes to an amusement park with her friends. The admission fee to the amusement park is $4. Okay, so we're paying that no matter what, even if you hate every single ride or you don't go on any rides at all. And then it says each ride costs 80 cents. Okay? If Kelly has only $25 to spend, how many rides can she go on? Okay, now the way this is worded, it doesn't necessarily lend you to think that you should have an inequality, but if you think about it carefully, you definitely can set up an inequality. Okay? Kelly can spend $25 or less. And nothing says that she has to spend all her money, but she cannot spend any more than 25. Okay, so we're looking at less than or equal to $25. Okay, and that's where the inequality comes in, is knowing that she doesn't have to spend every single penny. Okay, our goal is to figure out how many rides she can go on, so that's what we're trying to find. Okay, so we're going to say let R equal number of rides. Okay, if you prefer to continue using X, that's okay. Okay, so we know that she's going to pay $4 guaranteed plus 80 cents times the number of rides. And all of that has to be less than or equal to $25 because she cannot go over budget. Okay, draw a river and we'll solve. First step, subtract 4 from both sides. We get 0.80. R is less than or equal to 21. And then we will divide both sides by 0.80. And we get R is less than or equal to 26.25. Okay, now this is a little tricky. Okay, what did R represent? Okay, it was the number of rides. So she can go on 26.25 rides or less. Okay, but is that even possible? Okay, what we really need to say is that she can go on 26 or less. Okay, because you can't go on a fourth of a ride. They're not going to stop it quarter of the way through and tell you to jump off. Okay, so we say that Kelly can go on at most 26 rides. Okay, and I do want you to graph your solutions. I think we forgot to do that for the first one, but this one we're able to. Okay, you have 25, 26, 27. Okay, she can go on 26 or less. Okay, no more than 26. Okay, so now to check this, we can let R be any number that's either equal to 26 or less than 26. And you know me, anytime I can choose 0, I will. So I'm going to say let R equal 0. Let's assume that she goes on no rides. Okay, we have 4 plus 0.80 R is less than or equal to 25. Plug in our 0. 0.80 times 0 is less than or equal to 25. That's just going to be 0, so we have 4 is less than or equal to 25, and that is true, so we must have shaded in the correct direction. Finish your notes, pause the video if necessary, and then flip the page so that we can do our final example together. Example 3 says, Leo wants to join a gym. He calls 2 gyms and is given 2 different payment plans. Okay, so for Gym A, he can pay $100 for a new membership fee plus $35 per month. Or at Gym B, he can pay $75 for a new membership plus $40 per month. Okay, and our question is, after how many months will gym A be less expensive than gym B? Okay, this is a really funky situation. Okay, but what we're looking for is after how many months. Okay, so we're gonna let X equal number of months. Okay, and what we want to do is create an expression for gym A and an expression for gym B. Okay, so for gym A, he's going to pay 100 plus 35 times the number of months. Okay, and for gym B, he's going to pay 75 plus 40 times the number of months. And what we want is for gym A, this one over here, to be less than B. Okay, initially it's not going to be because he's paying more money up front. But because the monthly payment is less, eventually this one becomes worthwhile. So let's solve. This is a situation where we have variables on both sides, and you want to move the smaller one. Okay, well 35x is smaller than 40x, so I'm going to start by subtracting that to the other side. Notice how I line up my x's with my x's. These go away, and I get 100 is less than 75 plus 5x. Okay, I'm going to subtract 75 from both sides, and I get 25 is less than 5x. Divide by 5, and I get the x is greater than 5. Okay, and for graphing purposes, we want the x to be on the left-hand side, so I'm going to flip this whole thing around and draw my graph. Okay, 4, 5, 6, open circle at 5, and we're shading to the right. Okay, so what this represents, okay, x is number of months. So number of months has to be greater than 5 for gym A to be the cheaper option. Okay, so when we write this in sentence form here, we're going to say anytime after 5 months, gym A will be less expensive. Okay? And our final step is to check. So we're going to rewrite our original. Okay. 100 plus 35x is less than 75 plus 40x. And I can choose any number that is greater than 5. Okay, you choose. I think 10 is a nice number. So for my check, I'm going to say let x equal 10 months, but you can choose a different one if you want to. Okay, so 100 plus 35 times 10 is less than 75 plus 40 times 10. So I get 100 plus 350 is less than 75 plus 400. Okay, and this becomes 450 is less than 475, which is in fact true. So that we know we shaded in the correct direction, and we are all set. At this point, you have 1, 2, 3 examples to try with your partners. Okay, use the ones we did together to help you, and jot down any questions you have for me. And then tonight you're going to be doing homework day 20. Don't forget that your mastery quiz is due Friday and your test is going to be Friday. So start studying, and we'll start reviewing in class tomorrow. Thanks. See you tomorrow.